Right
Subaru.
next. Maybe he didn't then.
Mr. Chairman, we're live again.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. It's 2:00. Our next agenda item is an action item. This is a JUG HFR project bid opening for additional units. This time I'll just turn it over to Steph and we'll go from there.
Thank you. Bring you your sheets. We have one addition to Unit 2, an addenda to Unit 2. And maybe that's something, I don't know who would make the motion, but this would be a way to read it.
Okay.
So that's the addition. And, oh, I have that one before these. Should have one. Anyway, so if you wanted to handle that one first before the bid openings?
Sure.
Okay.
Addendum to gender service agreement, exhibit line.
So this is for which one now, number 2?
This would be for JUG, unit number 2.
And this is amendment,
Yes, sir.
and Ed has the motion.
What are we amending? Just making it larger? Did we get this stuff?
Did,
Y'all can look at it.
So we're adding 10.1 acres to that, Stephanie, is that correct?
No, sir. We are,
Unit 5.
yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't hand that one. This, it's 2.7 acres, it's right here.
Okay,
It's between this parcel and this parcel in Unit 2, and so that closes that up.
oh, okay.
And I was thrilled that he wanted to do it,
Mhm.
because it's an extremely difficult area to work.
So you need a motion to amend the general service agreement, Exhibit B?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I will make that motion that we amend or add addendum to general service agreement Exhibit B out of Department of Lands and Corporation, United States Department of Agriculture Forest Service under the authority of the Cooperative Forestry Act of 78. Is that what you needed?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'll second that amendment.
So we're amending it to add 2.1 acres to it.
Or else should.
Yeah, I think it says 2.7 acres.
2.7 acres?
Yes.
We're adding this
Okay.
unit to
Yeah.
those two.
We'll close up
To
those 2
Unit 2.
parcels.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
It's nice to have continuity there, isn't it?
Oh, it's
So why did that land up not getting to be part of that earlier on?
because I didn't think anybody would do it.
Oh,
So when he offered, he said, I can do that. And I
Oh.
said, for what you bid on this for?
Uh-huh.
And he said, yes. I said, I'll take it.
great.
It made perfect sense. I just didn't think anybody would do it. And, he may not be thrilled about it when he's finished, but he's doing a really good job.
It
And
sounded like it's just a right nice guy.
it's an important piece, no question about it. Thank you. And now, move on to,
Okay, our next agenda item is a bid opening for additional units. This would be Unit 5, 10.1 acres. And this bid is from John Lydrickson, Specialized Landworks. And the bid is for $2,800 per acre. Times 10.1 would be
28,000.
30,000. No. What is it? $30,080?
28,280.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, 28,280. Thank you. And the next bid is from Baron Loper. For the same unit, same number of acres, and this bid is $3,140 per acre.
$31,714.
And those are the only two bids we have, so I would entertain a motion to award these bids.
Hold on.
D&D is telling me that they handed the bid in.
Okay, so we'll wait and have Doug go check.
That's what that was about. And she said they always hand it in, and she handed it across the desk.
You are to the clerk's office?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So while Doug's down there, let's talk real quick about, have you been helping Pat at all as far as the job description for this person you're wanting? You get her something that kind of outlines what this person will actually do.
Well, my takeaway from our meeting was such that the workshop would continue the conversation. I felt like there were 3 different ideas that were discussed to a certain extent. One was for me to find somebody else to continue the work that I'm doing under my banner through a different contract. The other was to add an employee to the staff here at the county. And the third was to look at a large consulting forester company. So 3 viable
You're right.
alternatives. And so my encouragement would be that we continue the process of considering that, and I keep putting more information forward about what's involved. And then when this workshop is set up, then we look at all 3 of those possibilities and determine which direction you would like to take that thought process, what would work best in the situation that we have at hand. Because by then, we should have one of the questions I keep asking. What happens after the 2 grants that we're currently managing expire? A lot going on out there. Is this still going to be a relationship between the county and Idaho Department of Lands? Will they continue to ask for proposals that will be then filtered through this process? You want to know that when you're hiring somebody, right? So I think there's some answers. There's some assistance when these guys get off fire. Everybody's still on fire. And when some of these real in-the-know individuals are back off of fire, these are questions that we all need to know that have to do even with creating a request for proposal or, any of those activities. What exactly is it that this county wants to do, and how do they want to get there? What can be?
We were talking about us working on the job description. I was trying to find that old one. So I'll find job description.
Well, and you just got back from the Steel and SRS and met with the forester, and sounds like their push now is to do more of this work in
Yes,
National Forest. So
very much so.
this may evolve into something even bigger.
It could, and there's all kinds of things. I mean, there's all kinds of discussions about an employee. What do they drive? How often are they out in the field? Who supervises them? What is their, reporting authority? How do they manage all up? Because there was a challenge with how that all was managed before. And so the fiduciary requirements associated with managing these federal grants is fairly significant. And so it needs a watchdog, which is why we have a 2-party system basically now. It isn't just me and it's not just the county. So we kind of balance each other out and have accountability for how the funds are managed, and, so that the county can say, you betcha, right here.
Steph, are you thinking though that once these 2 grants expire that there'll be more grants?
Well, that's the
You
question.
hope.
That's the question that I want to hear. I want to understand. No luck.
No, was that today or Friday?
He says, do I just make a call?
Yeah, we gotta make sure we're not missing somebody out. Leaving somebody out here.
He said it was turned in at 9 o'clock, so I want to confirm that it was
This
today.
morning?
I want to confirm that. Hi, David. I'm in the commissioners meeting. Can you tell me, was that handed off at 9 o'clock this morning? 10 a.m. All right, 10 a.m. this morning.
And who did he interact
Do
with?
you know who she interacted with? Okay. Yes, she said it was exactly the same process that she's done for the last 3 bids. So,
But who's the she? The only she there this morning was Gabby.
Gabby, so Gabby doesn't call.
okay, we're gonna work on that right now. Okay, David?
Well, it was a she
I
dropping it
understand.
off.
I understand. We will work at it and see if we can get a good resolution, and I will call you back. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Did you give them a deadline on getting that in,
Yeah, 2
Stephanie?
o'clock today.
2 o'clock.
Yes, because we
So-
moved my meeting up from
So
3:30
we're
to 2.
over 10 minutes right now.
Well, it was, she says it was handed in at 10 o'clock this morning.
So
Okay.
she
And
handed,
Dorothy Stillwell.
okay, so it was a she that handed it in, not necessarily going to Gabby, but
Well,
I
the
don't
only
know who else
people
is
that
down
were
there.
Here this
Rich,
morning when I got here, it was Rich and Gabby.
I have no reason to suspect they would be evading.
Yeah. It's
I
probably
have,
sitting
I
there somewhere.
communicated with them several times over the weekend because we did change the time of my meeting here. And
Let's give
so,
Doug a little time, see if you can find it.
so
If
anyway,
push comes to shove, can we call David back and ask what he did?
that's up to you.
Hey Jeff, my question on CSASH Summit, Doug doesn't ever see that we invoiced and paid. So you're certain that that happened? How much do they normally pay us, do you know? How much does it cost?
Anywhere up to $3,000. This year was $600, $680, something like that. Mickey's got a copy of all that stuff.
And Jeff, what's the deal with the Forest Service blading from Warren down to South Fork?
They just go to Sawmill Point.
That's the county line?
Sawmill Point is, yeah.
And the Forest Service actually comes in and blades it?
Needed about once a year. I got a blade right now working from the river up to Sawmill Point. It will be bladed after today.
Who's doing that? Okay.
Backcountry for the last month and a half.
I'm gonna try and ride Clear Creek tonight when I get home.
Yeah, Bruce should be getting close to being done with it.
Good. What you got?
I emailed a document with their bid price on it.
Yeah, that would work, I think, if Doug can't find it.
Okay.
I don't think we're violating any bid opening procedures.
We have-
I think they're
Unless-
trustworthy. I wouldn't suspect that they were in violation of the deadline. Would not be they've handled everything else very professionally. So,
If they were listening online, that would be the only issue.
Yeah, right.
Here we go.
oh goody. Let's see if it says the same thing.
Or we'll find out. Huh?
Sorry about that, Mr. Chairman.
That's all right.
I'm glad you found it.
Okay, and our last bid is from D&D Tree and Land Management. And this bid is $2,426. 2426.
Definitely good thing we got that.
So unless there's issues with these,
No, sir.
then I'm gonna make a motion that we accept the 2426.
24,503.
503.
I'll second that. But you did D&D tree, right? I'm trying to remember numbers here and listening to you at the same time.
Yeah, obviously, they're way under the rest of them.
I'm happy for him to give it a shot. It'll be a challenging job,
Yeah.
but it's a subdivision that we'll have more work in, and it'll be a good way for him to set the tone for his work there.
We got a motion and a second to award the contract to D&D Tree and Land Management. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Anything else? Oh, you got it?
Sir, I think we're good. Thank you for handling that, but I'm going to put that Commissioner Hasbrook. on
Yep,
that,
yep, yep.
as well as Commissioner Allen. My little covered.
You want signatures?
One of these days, I'm gonna write John Henry.
I have a feeling I know what day that's going to be.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steph. So at this time, that's the end of our agenda for today. I don't see anyone out in the general public. So this meeting is now
Mr.
officially.
Chairman, let me interrupt for a second before
Sure.
we adjourn the meeting.
Sure.
There's an issue that I've been wanting to at least review, and I think I'd like to take the opportunity to be a public for just a minute to do that.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyway, Commissioners, I wanted to review a decision we made last week. And so I took the trouble to look back at our tracks on our, and this was about the Herschel
Okay.
issue. And so I felt that we probably maybe at least was on the verge of violating maybe a declaration, which it turns out was a moratorium. And on I believe it was November the 15th, you had a county commissioner meeting in which you asked the road advisory committee to come and present on their recommendations. The second recommendation was for a temporary moratorium of accepting any new roads for maintenance or snow removal until such time, that's what it says, as appropriate, whatever that means. So anyway, we then reviewed, I went and found the minutes on this to find out what we actually approved. And that was on a commissioner meeting on, let's see, what was it? Oh, yeah. It'd be December the 13th in 2021. You reviewed these, you actually had an action item to approve these recommendations. And then during that discussion, you did have a fair amount of discussion regarding this because I went back and listened to this. Commissioner Hasbrook had some concerns about not locking herself in to something particularly in the area of emergencies. Anything like that with the road snow removal particularly. But the motion was made during that meeting, and you made no changes to that recommendation that I could find. And Commissioner Maupin made a motion to approve the Valley County Road and Bridge priorities as presented. Commissioner Bingham seconded the motion, no further discussions. So, going back to what we did last week, and the reason I mention this, I think this will come back to us. I think there'll be other issues that we're going to have to deal with because there's lots, we know we don't already snow remove on all approved county roads. So if somebody comes back and makes an argument in the future with us, maybe we'll need to have another discussion here to maybe review that moratorium.
But we can't put a moratorium on without going through an official process to do that. And a moratorium is only good for 182 days.
Well,
And that's what solves.
you did a moratorium, best I can tell, in that meeting, because that's the way it reads.
We
That was
can't,
on the recommendation of the road advisory committee, right?
Yeah,
you can't do a moratorium without
We didn't do a moratorium. What we did is we approved your guys, or the road advisory's
yeah,
recommendations.
which was for a moratorium.
Part of it, yeah. There was other things too, but that was
Well.
part of it.
Second Amendment was for a temporary moratorium of accepting any new roads for maintenance or snow removal And I feel pretty bad about this one because it's not, I mean, we're gonna have to look at all of our neighbors in the face when they make these things, and they may be lifelong friends. And we look back at that and say, well, this was our discussion, this was our decision. And that's why I think sometimes we need to review some of those things a little bit, be a little bit careful on that, because I believe that what we've done possibly added, more workload inadvertently for that sort of thing. And we could be, anyway, that's my spiel. I just wanted to bring it up and just to review that, just to make sure that we,
I know it's a tough one, Ed, because the thing that got to me on the Herschel one was the fact that they presented a plat that said the county will maintain these roads.
that's right. But
So
we
those
do.
commissioners at that time committed to that function.
And we have all of those, and almost every subdivision that, for an era there was a long era there for almost every subdivision that was approved, that was brought up to county standards and requested we would accept. But it does say that the county commissioners can set the level of maintenance, and also doesn't snow removal. That's the kind of maybe gray area. Is that maintenance or is that snow removal? And so when he makes that, argument there, so, well, here's a plat that says that the county is responsible for maintenance. Well, what does that really mean?
I know one time, a long time ago, we had a policy that if you're a full-time resident, we would plow your road.
Yes.
And that got all messed up because people weren't really full-time residents.
Right.
And so that one came back and bit us pretty hard too, because
Yeah.
these people were gone for 2 months out of the winter.
Yeah.
Why plow that road? And then when they came back, the road wasn't plowed, they were upset.
Anyway,
As discussed
Yeah.
too, we are going to have a greater conversation about road maintenance. I mean, we just have to. We're to that
well, we
point.
do, but meanwhile, one of the things, I was uncomfortable with the situation of somebody coming in saying, okay, but I want you to do this. And we do it. And we look back and say, God, we just a year ago said or less that we weren't going to do this. At least that's my interpretation. And that's subject to argument as well.
It is, it's all very subjective, very,
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it any different. And I think it's really important. I know a lot of emphasis has been put on, we need to rate these roads 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I want Jeff to come up and explain that when you're out plowing snow, you don't go past a number 4 road to go do a number 1
Yeah.
road. If you're there, you're gonna do it while you're there.
Yeah.
And so that system really doesn't work. Maybe on heavy storms where you get, a lot of snow 3 or 4 or 5 days in a row,
Right.
then there might be a chance that, well, that's a level 4 road. I'm gonna come back and do that after it quits snowing, in a few days, but
Don't know a level like that. If I'm a resident and somebody tells me that I'm a level 3, you may or may not get plowed, depending on what other work we have to do. It don't work if you live in the Valley
You set up
County.
your own plow route.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole point.
I know, so,
That's the
it
whole
has to
point of
be more or
telling
less,
people.
the levels have to be, we probably are not going to snow plow on that road. Maybe we'll do surface in summer, that sort of thing. But it can't be, dependent on snowstorms.
well, and then I know, and Jeff can verify this, there's a lot of roads we can't plow
No,
because even though they're county roads, they're not built.
nope,
I'm thinking of one down in Round Valley. Oh, what's the name of the road now? That in the springtime is underwater.
yep.
High runoff, big rainstorm, you can't get across it because you're in a foot and a half of
Well,
water.
anyway, the only reason for this was that I wanted to just express the reason that I had concerns with that, because I just felt like it was maybe we're hadn't really reviewed our own decisions that well, and I could be corrected, no problem with that. That's the way I saw it. So
That's why we
all
have
I
discussion, Ed, before, so.
Yeah,
Jeff, do you have anything else to add to that?
Just, kind of like I said before, 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, 20 minutes there, 10 minutes there. Yeah,
It adds up.
And really,
I think.
and what we end up doing is we're paying that operator overtime.
Yeah,
And so we're paying for labor at a higher cost
right.
to plow that road. If we had 5 more guys or even 1 more guy that we could split that route up into a 8-hour or a 10-hour, whatever they're doing, 4 10s, then we're not paying that overtime cost. But, so to me,
Yeah.
the situation is really obvious that Jeff just needs more help.
Yeah, and you have to get, but when we make these decisions, somebody comes in and asks us for some of this stuff. I just think that's why we had this road advisory. That's why we had all these recommendations and we looked at them, we accepted them. And now, maybe a gray area, but I didn't think it was that great.
So you
Anyway.
felt like maybe we should not have done that.
I personally think that's where I was at, but I just wanted to review the background for that. I think that's an important part.
I think it's important that we point out, we did not put a moratorium on. That's a very specific. Now, that verbiage may have been in there in the road department request, but you can't approve a moratorium that way. And a moratorium has to be within, there are very strict legal boundaries on moratorium.
Yeah.
It
So,
really wasn't called a moratorium. We just decided we weren't going to take on any more county roads.
Yeah, we weren't going, that was the point.
That was the
We were
point.
not going to take any more plowing in the winter and any more maintenance, period, until appropriate time that we felt like we could do it. But we called it a moratorium, no matter whether it's legal or not. In the record, we called it a moratorium, a temporary moratorium.
Right.
So, yeah.
Thanks, Ed. I appreciate your honesty on that. I can tell you what, you hardly ever get any credit for doing something right. But when you do something wrong, you're going to hear about it, believe me. Okay, is there anything else anybody wants to add? If not, I'll.
Mr. Chairman, we just, Jeff, on the contracts that you signed earlier this morning, Mr. Chairman, there was the name of the individual needed to be changed. For the Valley Paving, my understand is that there should have been a different name listed on that agreement, so he's just bringing up new ones that he printed off with the correct name.
Okay,
So the first time these went through, Tom Reiner was the president or vice president. And when Oki did the contract, we just carried that name over. Well, he retired a couple months ago, so now we've got another person that's gonna do the signing, so
okay.
that's all it is.
We've already approved that, so you can bring it on up. And Doug, I think if it's all right with you, I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Last page on each one of those, please. I've actually got the contract and the proposals and everything all in that same packet now.
And all 3 of us sign this.
Yes, then Doug attests, I believe.